There's a moment when I was like about an hour into The Housemaid where I'm sat thinking, why has Paul Feig made this? Why is the guy who did A Simple Favour, Bridesmaids, The Heat, Spy, what's attracted him to this film? What is there anything here that would push him out of his comfort zone? Within 70 minutes later, I knew the answer. Crikey, did I know the answer. Let's dig into The Housemaid. It is a film based on a novel I have not read by Freida McFadden. Its screenplay is down to Rebecca Sonnenschein. Paul Feig directs. A cast: Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried, Brandon Sklenar, I think that's how you pronounce it, Michelle Monroe, and Elizabeth Perkins. Right. Let's start in the obvious place for a psychological thriller. Does anyone remember that, like, the first episode of the 2000s reboot of the sci-fi TV series Battlestar Galactica? I think it's the pilot episode where what we see is a bunch of journalists being taken on a guided tour of this massive spaceship that's going to be the heart of the show. And I remember reading an article deriding that once, just like, it's such a cheat. It's such an obvious mechanic just to show us round this ship. And yeah. And so without having to do an awful lot of work, the audience knows the geography of where they are. A bit of a harsh criticism. I always thought it was a pretty effective tool. It came to mind while I was watching The Housemaid. So, right near the start, the film hits us with like a drone shot overlooking this really posh house with a gate that just embossed with the letter W, and it slides open in a majestic way and slides closed. You then get this very large font-sized Housemaid over the top of it. But Paul Feig gets down to business really quickly here with his film. So he's got Sydney Sweeney's Millie and glasses, don't knock glasses, turn up at the posh front door of Amanda Seyfried's, or Nina Winchester. Nina Winchester is a very well-to-do woman. She's got a young daughter. She says, they're planning more. She's pregnant. She needs this absolutely pristine, luxurious house. And as the title of the film suggests, I don't think this is a spoiler, Millie is applying for the job of Nina's housemaid. So on the surface, I'm sat watching, it's just like, this is planet Earth's easiest job interview. I reckon I could get it. And the softball questions, you like this? Oh, yes, it's all lovely. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, Feig throws in a little bit of voiceover narration just to try and convince us all of this is more difficult than it actually is. I ain't buying it. And within seconds, it seems, of this interview, Nina is taking Millie on a guided tour of this majestic, expensive house that her husband has. It's his pride and joy, Andrew, played by Brandon Sklenar. And, you know, he's designed it. It's all just like, everything's in the right place. They're not just like me here, sat in front of. Okay, let's move on. Let's just say it's a movie house. Do you remember The Invisible Man? Do you remember how gorgeous the house was? It's the kind of house we can't afford. It turns up in films. And so there we're taken on the guided tour. I was just like, oh, hello. If I'm not mistaken, that's a spiral staircase. Oh, there's something hanging over the top of it. I know where we are here. Where do you think the housemaids will sleep? Is it a live-in position? Oh, it is. Right, let's go up the stairs. Wouldn't you know it, there's an attic room at the top, right at the top of the house. The window doesn't open in the attic room. Okay, that's weird. All this needs now is like some like kid who just stares at you in a weird, creepy doll's house. What's that? Doll's house. Put that in. Big tick. There is the creepy doll's house. And yeah. Oh God, that's Andrew's man cave over there. When he's not using it, just go in and watch something. Won't be a problem at all. You're just like, okay. There's foreshadowing, and there's getting out your megaphone and just saying this stuff matters. Do you remember Roland Emmerich's White House Down? And I had so much fun with that. And the first half hour of that is spent pointing out things around the set, and you're just like, might see them again. I was really getting that impression from it. So the job interview concludes, and off goes Millie back to her usual surrounds. Cut to her scrubbing her armpit with soap and water. I do it too sometimes, only on Tuesdays. You don't need more than one wash a week. And so it's very clear she isn't coming from a glamorous life. And but also, and Sydney Sweeney gives it her all. She's basically the only person involved in the entire production of The Housemaid, from us watching it to those behind the scenes who think she might have flunked the job interview. No, not a chance. Right, let's just say it'd be a very short film if she didn't get the job. She got the job, and they're just like, oh, okay, we're in a conventionalist thing, a conventional style thriller here. What is it? 3-4 people in a house, and that's. I mean, it's almost like the Blumhouse model, isn't it? You get one location, put actors in it, make shit happen, see where it goes. Right. So, right the way through this, I'm kind of like, I've seen this. I know what happens. I've not read the book. I reckon I can second guess this. And it's worth a pause here to note that The Housemaid is Paul Feig's second movie as director this year, because his sequel, Another Simple Favour, came out earlier this year, which pitted two brilliant women against each other to varying degrees. And, I mean, in truth, I wasn't too fond of that movie. But again, full disclosure, the circumstances I watched it in were not ideal, because I went to a special screening where they brought in the cast and the director before, and the person who moderated the interview before then sat in front of me for the film and just kept excitedly ruining key moments by turning to their mate and just go, you should watch this bit. So it kind of took me out of it a bit. I was very fond of A Simple Favour. I don't think the sequel lived up to it. Other opinions are available. So, The Housemaid is then, I mean, it settles, and I mean, it ratchets. I mean, stuff starts to happen quickly, but it plays out a bit more conventional. Is Nina going a little bit off the rails? And there's a fair play, Paul Feig. There is a Rocky IV style montage of Sydney Sweeney cleaning the house. I am all for a Rocky IV montage. And then, wouldn't you know it, Millie and the young kids, Cece, they don't quite see eye to eye. Cece doesn't like talking very much, but she likes giving you a death glare. Very good at giving a death glare. Fair enough. Nina starts to go off the rails a little bit, and Andrew comes in to be this calming, moderating force. But these two women at some point sat there, you're going to clash, aren't you? Oh. And there's a gardener who doesn't say much at all, and also an overbearing woman who pops in with some family heirloom china, which is incredibly valuable. I don't know why she walks in with it. She's bringing it into this just like, here's the very, very best possible china you could possibly have. Yeah, I mean, look after it. You make sure you look after it. It's just like, all right then. And you know what? All of this setup is perfectly entertaining. I will say there were plot developments going on that would have been harder to guess if they'd have been written in the font in which the font size, the title appears at the start of the film. I would have struggled more just to read 100-point text than to work out where I thought this was going to go. But Paul Feig's having a blast here, along with his regular DP, John Schwartzman. They're picking their camera angles, they're exploring the crevices, the nuances of the house. And do you know what? I was having fun. I was enjoying it. I was considering it's been a really long time since I've seen a film where so many characters have made so many piss poor decisions. I thought the boxes have been ticked here. The tension's going up quite nicely. You've got keys being put in locks. You've got people wearing jumpers. You've got really posh sandwiches being made that don't seem to leave any crumbs. All perfectly fun. So what attracted you, Paul Feig, to doing a fairly by-the-numbers conventional Blumhouse-style thriller? And then I found out, oh God, right. So had I rented The Housemaid from a VHS shop in the 80s, by the time spoiler alert, right? By the time the end credits rolled, I would have hit the rewind button to a certain point in the film and started watching that bit all over again. Feig, it turns out, gets the tone right. He knows this is slightly heightened. He knows there's a tiny bit of wiggle room just to have fun, but he knows he has to play with the tension in it. And it's a 131-minute film, so it's quite long, really, for the ingredients that it's got. And most of that time is spent basically double bagging this setup, fleshing out Nina and Millie, and giving Feig the fuel he needs for when he lights the rocket, making sure it goes. And I mean, if you'd have told me like at the start of the film that I would just grin with glee as someone said the line, "I fucking love gravy," I'd assumed you'd have got your films mixed up. But when it takes its turn, it absolutely takes its turn. And honestly, I can't. I had so much fun with the housemaid. That's a dodge. God, I hope no one clips that out of context. I found it. I found the first all the build up, all the setup, and they throw in a bit of Nookie, and they throw in, you know, some really creepy music as well. I think it's Theodore Shapiro working with Feig again. I love his Simple Favor score. They're playing Hitchcock here, and they know what they're doing. And so I'm sat there, and if it had gone down quite how I thought it would go down, I'd have been perfectly happy with that. What happens? How do I do this? I don't know how to do this. The characters unravel a bit. I think that's fair to say. And you have these key performances. So Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried are having an absolute blast here. And they each have 3-act performances that give them a lot of room to have a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Elizabeth Perkins has a cameo. It took me a while to work out it was her. Also, a lot of fun. There are bits where it goes outside the house, I should note, where I just felt you're just releasing a tiny bit of the tension, I think, here. But then I was like, oh, okay, I see what you've done there. And then this back, I don't really, it might be 45 minutes. It's some of the most entertaining stuff I've watched on a cinema screen in 2025. I mean, the film comes out in the UK just as like Avatar, Fire and whatever it is coming in. And that's 3.25 hours. And it just, I didn't really like Way of Water, so I'm the wrong person to review an Avatar film. And it just holds like, big, I mean, it's just got big cinema written all over it. What The Housemaid has is it's playing with the tools and ingredients of cinema, but also I imagine it's going to be absolutely delicious with a massive audience. I would love this. I'm in Birmingham in the UK, and they've got people doing like watch along Murder She Wrote episodes at the cinema over there, like 7 miles up there. As an audience interaction thing, going very, very light. I think The Housemaid could be an absolute off the chart blast. Folks, I've had so much fun with it. So much fun. I think this is Paul Feig's best film since Spy. And I've liked quite a lot of what he's done since. Spy for me is a high bar. It's a peerless film. I thought it was really, really, really bonkers. Really, really, really good fun. It utterly earns its BBFC rating once it gets going, but I can't tell you why. And from that bit at the start where I'm like thinking, why are you doing this? Now I look at Paul Feig in a very, very different way. All power to the man. Give me sequels to this. I'm there. Give me like follow-ups, prequels, spin-offs. I don't care. I'm there. I cannot wait to watch The Housemaid again. It's got its flaws. There's stuff you'll see coming a mile off. Just like, but if it gets you, you are walking out with a massive grin on your face. I did.